Hello, everyone. My name is Cristian Martinez, and this is my marketing strategy analysis. The corporation that I've chosen is Sony Computer Entertainment, a separate subsidiary of Sony Corporation. Their industry is the video games industry. It's a $12 billion industry as of 2012. We're going to focus on the PlayStation brand, which is their entry into the video game industry. There's three iterations of home consoles for the PlayStation, as well as two portable iterations of each console. In 1996, introduced us to the original PlayStation. 2001 introduced us to PlayStation 2, and 2006 brought us PlayStation 3. PlayStation 4 is due to release a few days after I make this video on November 15th, 2013. There's two portable iterations to the console. One at top is your PlayStation Portable. One at the bottom is your PlayStation Vita. PlayStation Portable came out in mid 2000s. PlayStation Vita came out in 2009, 2010, depending where you live. Forces affecting Sony Computer Entertainment marketing strategy. Well, first one is Microsoft and Nintendo, their competition. Sony has been reactive in a lot of the marketing as well as proactive in a lot of the marketing. Uh, Nintendo pushed for casual gaming this last generation. Microsoft and Sony pushed for hardcore gaming. Nintendo sold tons of units, and Microsoft and uh, Sony both went to the casual gaming market. We'll touch more on that later, but that's one of the forces that affects them. They all compete for the same consumers. There's a large amount of consumers, but they all want their share. Supply and demand, as I mentioned earlier, the video game industry is very much forced to adapt to whatever's in demand. If a certain type of game is in demand, again, that's a certain type of game that's going to come out, whether it's a first-person shooter or an adventure game or whatever the new trend may be. Like I mentioned earlier, Nintendo came out with motion controls this last generation. Nobody else did. Everybody else thought it was a gimmick. It sold tons and tons and tons, and both Microsoft and Sony, in order to get a whole part of that demand, created a supply with their both unique iterations of motion control. Uh, Microsoft with the Kinect and Sony with the PlayStation Move. Sony Computer Entertainment's target market is gamers of all ages. Gamers are no longer a single demographic. There's not a certain age group anymore. It's not just males between the age of 15 and 25 or anything like that. Gamers are male and female, old and young. It could be five. It could be in their 40s. You had, guys that grew up playing games in the 80s are now 40s and their 50s, and they're still buying games. And they still play games, and their kids are playing games. And probably you watching this video have played games, whether it was on your phone, whether it was on a tablet, on a console, on a computer, a game on Facebook, Farmville, whatever it may be. Everybody plays games. That is who their target market is. Everyone who plays games. Product. Sony has always been synonymous with quality, and Sony Computer Entertainment is no different. The PlayStation's always been the brand to go to. It has the best technology with the best features, and it's the product to have. They have the best games available, and it's always offered something unique, except for this last iteration. When the original PlayStation came out, it was when CDs were being pushed and that could play CDs. When PlayStation 2 came out was when DVD was making its introduction into the market, and the PlayStation 2 was the cheapest DVD player you could get. When PlayStation 3 came out, Blu-ray was starting to emerge, and the PlayStation 3 was the cheapest Blu-ray player you could get at the time. Uh, the product has always been a great thing from Sony Computer Entertainment. Quality and just niche and little niche features like that. Not the case this time because PlayStation 4 doesn't have a new format coming out with it, but it still has its own uniqueness. It's being marketed as a console by the gamers for the gamers. We go to where I was talking about it being for the gamer by the gamer. You can buy PlayStation anywhere. I mean, you can go. There's a selective marketing, this selective distribution model that Sony Computer Entertainment has chosen, and it's not in every store. It's not in grocery stores or anything like that, but GameStop, Best Buy, Walmart, Target, basically any place that sells electronics, you can get a PlayStation 4. You go to price. Sony's always had a market skimming pricing strategy. They start very high, uh, and then they lower their price as time goes along. When the original price PlayStation was released, it was $300, and then as time went on, it was about $100 by the end of its life cycle. PlayStation 2, Same thing, $300 when it came out, $100 by the end of its life cycle. PlayStation 3, $600 when it first came out, $200 by the end of its life cycle. PlayStation 4 will follow suit. It'll be $399 at release. A year later, it'll be around $50 to $100. A year later, another $50 to $100 until it reaches a price point around $200, $150, and then it'll die out right there. That'll be the end of its life cycle. Promotion. Where can you come across marketing messages for my target market? Anyway, you go on YouTube and you start typing searches, you watch a couple videos, and you'll see a couple PlayStation ads. You got an internet connection, you're my target market, I'm going to promote to you. You're watching a gaming event, a sports event on TV, a football game, basketball game, hockey, whatever it may be, you're going to see commercials for video games. Anybody who's got a TV, anybody who's got internet connection is going to see some sort of PlayStation ad, especially with the coming release of the new console in the next couple of days. You're going to be bombarded. Holiday season's going to come out. They've always been very good at this. Sony always releases during this holiday time. They try to capture as many sales as they can for Christmas time, Black Friday, all that good stuff, and follow into the beginning of the next fiscal year as well. Effectiveness. How effective has Sony's marketing been? Well, Xbox 360 came out a year before the PlayStation. It was cheaper than the PlayStation, and they've sold just about the same amount of units. Wii, again, monster of its own accord. It was a secondary console. If you had one of the two main consoles, you had a Wii. It's just runaway success. But PlayStation was able to catch up to the Xbox 360, both in units sold and in one last year. PlayStation 4 is coming out, and it's going to be a great hit for them. They have this new gaming marketing for the gamers, by the gamers. A used game policy. Xbox is going to have a used game policy where you can't play used games. PlayStation can. Huge marketing for them thus far. And my take on what could be done better to improve their marketing plan, it would be different. Offer something that the other two don't offer. Everybody right now has exclusive content, but it needs to be pushed more. Two ideas that I have that I would implement would be to include a portable with the console. Patch in a PlayStation Vita with a PlayStation console. Charge the extra $100 that the Xbox 360 is, but give consumers that value. Something that I would absolutely push for would be to include a competitor trade-in rebate. You know, if you have an Xbox 360 and you want to get a PlayStation 4, bring in your Xbox and we'll take $100 off the price, $50 off the price, whatever it may be. Give consumers an incentive to switch brands. Not only are you selling a PlayStation 4, but you're taking the Xbox console out of that household, and you're taking software sales from Microsoft. That would be my one thing that I think would be the best way to improve the marketing plan would be more aggressive and include a competitive trade-in rebate. Thank you again, and this is my presentation. Sayonara.